Most football fans are well aware of the multi-billionaire owners within the top flights of Europe's major leagues, such as Sheikh Mansour at Man City or Dietmar Hopp at Hoffenheim. Both of those owners have transformed the size and success of their respective clubs primarily through the injection of wealth into players, staff, and infrastructure. Less well known perhaps are the enormously wealthy football club owners lurking in the shadows far from the heights of the Premier League or the Champions League. Subscriber AD recently left us this comment asking me to take a look at some lower league football clubs with surprisingly wealthy owners, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, there are far more than 7 lower league football clubs from across the globe who have owners with deep pockets, so these are just an obscure or interesting 7 of my choice. The video isn't ordered by the size of the club or the wealth of the owners, it's in no particular order, and if this proves to be a spectacularly popular topic, I could always make a part 2. For now though, here are 7 lower league football clubs with very wealthy owners. Portsmouth. Portsmouth went through a period of false dawns, con men, and so-called fake shakes, culminating in their rapid decline through the divisions between 2010 and 2013. Pompey's financial concerns were so severe that the club were threatened with liquidation, and it was only the intervention of the Pompey Supporters Trust, who acquired the club in 2013, that saved the club from possible extinction. That move made Portsmouth the largest fan-owned club in English football, and it makes it easy to see why so many supporters were hesitant about opening ownership of the club back up to private investors. Following considerable consideration, in May 2017, the Pompey Supporters Trust voted in favour of a proposed bid to take over the club by the Tornante Company. The Tornante Company is owned and chaired by former Disney CEO Michael Eisner, who has a personal net worth ranging from $1 to $2.3 billion, depending upon which unreliable internet source you choose to believe. Eisner is almost certainly a billionaire, and he founded the Tornante Company as a private investment company when he left Disney in 2005. Tornante is invested primarily in the online and entertainment sectors, and their ownership of Portsmouth makes the League One playoff semi-finalists the wealthiest club outside of England's top 2 divisions. Zhejiang Greens FC. One of the craziest things about China is the sheer number of megacities in the country that most people in the West have never even heard of. Zhejiang Greens FC are based in the city of Huangzhou, which is larger than London. Meanwhile, the province of Zhejiang itself has a population greater than that of Colombia, South Korea, or Spain. There has been an enormous influx of very wealthy Chinese businessmen and entrepreneurs into Chinese football in recent years, but Zhejiang Greens FC have been owned by a billionaire for the last 15 years. Zhejiang native Song Weiping acquired a 96% stake in the club for a little over £2 million back in 2005, with the other 4% being owned by Zhejiang University. Weiping is one of China's best-known real estate tycoons, having founded the Greentown China Company back in 1995. Weiping only owns a 10% stake in the property development firm these days, but that's still enough to give him an estimated personal net worth in excess of $1.2 billion. Despite their wealthy backer, Zhejiang haven't been among China's biggest spenders, and they were relegated from the Chinese Super League in 2016. Now competing in China League One, which is China's second tier, their highest profile player is probably former Levante striker Rafael Martins. Torpedo Moscow. There has historically been 5 big clubs based in the Russian capital of Moscow, namely CSKA, Spartak, Lokomotiv, Dynamo, and Torpedo. Whilst the other 4 are all based in the north of the city, Torpedo Moscow are outliers and the only major club based in the south of Moscow. During the Soviet era, Torpedo enjoyed much success, winning 3 Soviet top league titles, 7 Soviet or Russian cups, and reaching the quarterfinals of European competitions on multiple occasions. Following the fall of the Soviet Union, Torpedo have suffered a fall of their own. The club was relegated for the first time in their history in 2006, and in 2009, they dropped into the amateur 4th tier of Russian football. A rebuilding job began, and in the 2014-15 season, Torpedo returned to Russia's top flight. It would be a short-lived return, and due to financial problems, they were subsequently relegated not once, but twice. It was in 2017 that the club was bought out by billionaire businessman Roman Avdeev, with the hope that their financial struggles would be a thing of the past. Avdeev bought the Credit Bank of Moscow in 1994, and he consolidated his assets and began diversifying in the pharmaceutical, real estate, and industrial sectors in 2006. Avdeev now has a personal estimated net worth of $1.5 billion, making him roughly the 1,500th richest man in the world. Since his takeover, Torpedo have won promotion to the FNL, Russia's second tier, and they somewhat unfortunately missed out on promotion to the Russian Premier League this season due to the season being abandoned. Harrogate Town. Harrogate Town have been a non-league club ever since they were founded 106 years ago, but they have never come closer to reaching the Football League than they did this season. Harrogate is a lovely spa town with a population of around 75,000 people, but as recently as 2002, the club was languishing down in the 8th tier of English football. Harrogate are owned by businessman Irving Weaver and managed by his son Simon Weaver, although Simon was at the club before his father's takeover. Weaver Jr. was a journeyman defender who spent time playing in the Football League before becoming Harrogate Town's player manager in 2009, meanwhile his father Irving took control of the club in 2011. Irving inherited the family business Weaver Construction, which was founded in 1919 but has grown the company under the name Strata Homes in more recent times. According to Company Check, Irving has a net worth of £221.5 million, although it says, I have a net worth of £0 when I actually have over £17 in my bank account right now, so who knows what to believe. Anyhow, Irving is a man with deep pockets as far as National League owners go, and the father and son duo might have taken Harrogate up this season were it not for Bury's liquidation and the season being abandoned. Dorados de Sinaloa. Any of you who have watched the Netflix documentary Maradona in Mexico will be well aware of the ambitious second-tier side, Dorados de Sinaloa. Sinaloa is the 15th largest state in Mexico, home to more than 3 million people, and it is also home to the Sinaloa cartel, which is considered by the US intelligence service to be the most powerful drug trafficking organisation on earth. Some mischievous individuals may suggest that is what attracted Maradona to the city of Culiacan in the state of Sinaloa, but that was more likely to do with the club's wealthy benefactor. Dorados are a young club founded in 2003, but they are currently owned by Grupo Caliente. I wouldn't expect any non-Mexican viewers to have heard of Grupo Caliente, but it is the largest betting company in Mexico, making their owner, Jorge Jancaron, a very wealthy man. It is his son who serves as Dorados' president as the club seeks a return to Mexico's top flight, Liga MX. Once best known globally as Pep Guardiola's final club as a player, Dorados are now known for their eccentric wealthy owner, who was once raided and found to have 88 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition in his home, the appointment of Diego Maradona, and their eye-raising PR stunts. Jongnam Dragons. A case could be made for second-tier South Korean outfit Jongnam Dragons having the wealthiest backers in all of world football, which may come as a surprise, since I suspect this is the first time 95% of you have ever heard of Jongnam Dragons at all. Founded in 1994, Jongnam Dragons had spent their entire history in the K-League up until 2019, when they suffered their first relegation. The football club is based in Gwangyang, a small South Korean city, which is centered around the single largest steel-producing facility on Earth. The Gwangyang Steel Works are owned and operated by POSCO, which is the third largest company in South Korea. The fifth largest steelmaking company on Earth by production, but the largest by market value, POSCO has annual revenues of over $60 billion, making them 10 times the size of the Red Bull conglomerate. As the hub and pretty much the sole reason for the existence of Gwangyang, POSCO own the local football club Jongnam Dragons, although they haven't historically diverted a great percentage of their enormous earnings into the football club. Jongnam have never won the K-League, although they have won the Korean FA Cup 3 times. FC Lausanne-Sport. In top spot, despite the fact that this list is in no particular order, I've gone for Swiss second-tier side FC Lausanne-Sport. Lausanne-Sport are an interesting club who could stake a claim to having been the oldest club outside of Britain. Their stadium, which was built in 1904, hosted 5 games at the 1954 World Cup, including Hungary's 4-2 semi-final success against Uruguay. Look, it's these kind of obscure factoids that you'll probably forget in 5 seconds that make this channel what it is, so you really ought to subscribe if you haven't already. Luzern Sport were particularly successful prior to the end of World War II, and they have won 7 Swiss League titles in total, but none since 1965. They now find themselves in Switzerland's second tier, although they are owned by Britain's richest person, Jim Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe made his billions, all 21 of them, in the petrochemicals industry through his multinational firm Ineos, which has a reported turnover of £85 billion, making it the largest privately owned company in the United Kingdom. Ratcliffe, who grew up in Hull, owns 2/3 of the business, giving him a net worth which is equivalent to about 5 Richard Bransons. The secretive Brexit-backing businessman moved his company's headquarters to Switzerland in 2010, reportedly avoiding €450 million of tax over the next 4 years in the process, and in 2017, Ratcliffe acquired nearby Lausanne-Sport through his business. The club's marquee signing following the takeover was Zinedine Zidane's son Enzo Fernandez, but they were still relegated in Ratcliffe's first season in charge. The British billionaire has since added Ligue 1 side Nice to his sporting portfolio. That's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed it, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, do make sure that you are subscribed to HITC Sevens.